Good evening, everyone. This is Angela Mills. I work for the town manager here in the town of Amherst. This is a meeting of the Public Art Commission, and at this time, I am recognizing the chair, Tom Warders here. Although we don't have quorum, I am going to turn things over to Tom. And Tom, I don't know, normally I would wait like 15 minutes. And if I don't have quorum at 15 minutes, I would cancel the meeting, but it's totally your discretion. I'm sure that people have been communicating with you all day about whether or not they can make it.
Okay, thank you, Angela. I'll do that. I am expecting quorum. We're a few minutes before 5, so I'm not worried yet. But we will wait. We will not start the meeting until we have a quorum. So how have you been, Lynn?
Good. Yeah, this is a sort of a busy time of year.
It is. It is. It doesn't get better after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I volunteer at the Amherst Survival Center. So they've been, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
so many volunteers, and many of them are students. Some do internships, so they're always looking for people to work extra shifts and stuff. So I've been trying to help out. It's amazing to me the
Hmm.
whole donation system. It just exploded over these last 3 weeks. So that's been really great.
It's been gratifying to see,
Yeah.
awful as it is that it had to happen that way.
Hmm. Yeah, so many
I think
organizations.
they're one of the real good organizations in town, real solid.
Yeah, yeah. I've enjoyed working with them. But so many areas did food drives that there was just, you know, and a big part of what volunteers does is go through and sort the food that comes in, and check for, dates, make sure it's in date, and
Hmm.
distribute it or store it, or so that's.
It was hard to get here, but here I am.
Yes, glad to see you.
Good to be back.
Okay.
I've got
Mhm.
to get the
Great.
town hall people to stop sending me stuff to Dara Wire and to send it to Barwa Dixon because I can't open Wire anymore. How do I do that?
Oh, okay. So that's um, how to get the town to correct it.
I need
Just send an
everybody to
email
stop
to
sending
Angela.
me. I need people to stop sending me email to Dara Wire because I can't open that email.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's why it took me a while to figure
so
out how to
have you
get in.
been getting the emails that I send you?
Uh, I've gotten a few,
Hmm.
but not all of them. I can get into Wire if I go through a very complicated thing. I don't regularly check it.
I think I'm looking at the ones that
Yeah.
you just sent went
Yeah, I
to
forwarded it.
Dara Dixon.
Barwa Dixon, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's the one I
correct.
used. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's the
Lori,
one I use to you.
Lori, your letter you wrote was so great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I was frustrated that it sounds like nothing's happening, so I
Well,
followed
yeah,
up.
you did a good job though of covering so much real research about it. That was great.
Well, Tom helped, and
Thank you,
yeah.
Tom.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I've been contacted by a town council member about that extra thinking how much 25,000 is just ridiculous and telling me, well, it's an elementary school, blah blah blah. And I understand
Yeah, I've
somebody who's
heard from
not
her too.
well, and I haven't answered her second note about it yet, but um, you cover all the information that I would have had to look up to get it right, like you did. So, and Tom, y'all, thank y'all for doing that. That was really good. And you sent that to her?
I
Mhm.
I sent the email to Paul Brockelman and I actually sent it the dates on it, so I I haven't heard anything back, and it's been over a week, which
Uh-huh.
is
See, I think that the town hasn't dealt with that much money in terms of public artwork necessarily before, and it seems really extreme and extravagant, you know? But part of the precedent of it that's kind of wonderful for the town is that it meets a need that, like, a small town doesn't have a great museum. Yeah, we have some university and college museums, but they're teaching museums and they are for real particular purposes, even though they have some real cool, great stuff in them, you know. But
Mhm.
with the amount of money that the Percent for Art gave to us, we can have a piece of art here that people who can't leave town and go spend money to go look at art can be really proud of
and that can bring people here. So it's
and bring
really
people here.
it's an incredible opportunity, and it needs to
Yeah.
be given um
Yep.
the proper way. It needs to be handled in the proper way so that
Yeah,
that money goes, is used responsibly. And I
yeah,
think it would be irresponsible not to hire someone who has
that's right.
the expertise to manage this project,
Yeah.
and we don't. So, and I
Well,
don't think anyone on that town on
Yeah.
there isn't anyone employed in the town either that I feel could take this over. So,
they're professionals who know all the ins and outs of
Yeah.
of managing projects like this.
absolutely.
And I don't think any of us want to
Yeah.
learn
Well,
all the ins and outs we need to learn when it's a professional job that we have the money to hire somebody at a reasonable going price. So it's good that you put that in too. Like, it's
yeah.
sad to me because
The budget for
go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, if you look at the budget for the school construction project, there were consultants all over the place for
Uh-huh.
everything,
Oh, good. Yeah.
and they weren't cheap either.
Oh,
So
sure.
now they turn around and say, you don't need a consultant.
I know. And,
Um,
I
so
did, I was.
we're not at the end of this yet.
No, good. I'm glad because it's
Mhm.
pointed out to me like,
Mhm.
Dara, this is an elementary school. And I'm like, well, that's a good place to spend your
Yeah,
money.
And this is what
yeah,
the town voted for
That's
percent for
right.
art.
That's
And
right.
it is the elementary school. It could have been a different building, but the town council approved this. This was approved.
Yeah.
There's
I don't know why we have to even have an argument about it because I don't even
yeah,
think it's an unusual amount or request given the
it's
job
not.
we're asking them to do. Because it's
yeah.
not like a
I-
week-long, month-long thing. It's following something for probably over a year, at
Yeah,
least,
and possibly
yeah,
more,
possibly
especially
more.
as the time it takes to move things through here
That's right.
could be longer, which
Well,
is, I think, why it's better than an hourly, I
yeah.
think better to
Yeah.
hire
Well,
someone.
built into any contract track with somebody, there can be something that says this fee is what this fee is, no matter how long it takes.
Exactly. And that's what I was, I consulted with someone who this is
Yeah.
her position, and she recommended that.
Yeah.
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 Okay, folks.
Okay. Sorry to
Um,
dominate this and throw us off our agenda. I didn't see our
we're glad to have your thoughts and your energy back with us.
agenda.
Okay, Lori, speaking of with us, Lori needs to leave at 5:30. So I would
Okay.
like to juggle the agenda so that we can open a discussion now and, and on the for want of a nail question and see
Okay.
what we can do with that in these 20 minutes.
Okay.
Do
All
we
right.
have someone else joining us, a
So
new member? Do we have someone else
He's
joining
not
us?
able to make it today.
Okay.
Let me see. We have anybody waiting?
So do we want to approve the
Okay,
minutes?
so we have
And-
3 people. We have 3 people waiting. Now
Okay.
let's save that for later too. We maybe after about 15 minutes or so here.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so the summary was the summary is
Yeah, Tom, I think your signal is sort of breaking up.
okay. I got dropped from the session and had to cycle back in.
Oh,
Okay. So at any rate, the the summary is that over several months in was it 3 to 24 that we uh, considered this proposal. We had some questions about it. We noted that there were consultations and approvals that would be needed from the town that we did not see. We had some reservations about the artistic merit of it. We eventually sent, we being myself and co-chair, I was co-chair then, co-chair um, uh, Terry, forgotten her last name already. Um, Anyhow, the 2 of us sent Catherine Stryker an email saying that we were not going to endorse the proposal, and pointed out in that email some of the things that we found that were missing from it. Now, we did that email was the action of the 2 co-chairs. We were acting on what we took to be a consensus of the commission at that time, but we did not have a recorded vote on that decision. And it's on that basis that I've brought that back to our agenda. What I would like to do is I would like to hear from the current commission members, their thoughts on what we should be doing at this point with that proposal.
Well, I have one question in looking at our recently kind of revised, mission and things. The one thing that's not addressed is gifted art, which to me, this sounds like I went through some of the history of it, and it seems like this piece is a gifted piece that has 2 components. One is there's going to be an exhibition of some
Right.
sort in the library, and then a freestanding sculpture on the library property. I did go to the library recently because I wanted to see this interior piece, which doesn't exist. I know that there has been some funding that's been allocated already to this project, but I don't know what, if anything has been spent so far. But when I spoke to the library people, they said they had nothing to do with this project, that it wasn't, and that it belonged to the District 1, or I wrote it down, yeah, District 1 neighborhood. So there were some things what I read was a little bit confusing to me about the relationship of the library to the project, but also what's our role or what's the town's role with a gifted piece of art? Does it follow the same criteria as,
That's-
if we were soliciting for piece of art? It seems like it should.
Well, that is part of the problem that we encountered because we felt at the time that we just didn't have guidelines to be following on this. The town had no policy. This commission had no record of policy, not only on a gifted work, but a general process for accepting a work on behalf of the town.
So
I'd like to hear yeah, go ahead. Continue, please.
the only comment that I would have is that I think that the role of at least as I view my role as part of the Public Art Commission is to try to make these things happen and not be a roadblock to it, but to try to nurture along and try to get it resolved so that so we have more art in the community.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Somebody else like to speak? Lori?
I think we had asked for some specific things from the artist to come back to this commission with, and my understanding is we didn't receive them. And without that, I think would be difficult to approve it. I think in conversations you had with Paul Brockelman, there wasn't an awareness of the project. And there were some questions we had about specific, installation questions and things that we had, and we didn't an approval from DPW, which I think is very important, from the Department of Public Works. And we asked for that. So when we didn't hear back, I think at the time, we both didn't have enough information. And there were some questions about the safety of the sculpture itself, where it would be installed. I think Dara had brought that up, and Dara had brought that up, and we had discussed that as well, which we really didn't feel we could evaluate. So I think we decided that we didn't have enough information. I was also wondering, as I was looking into this, that if the contract that we received for that would be used for artists doing projects with the town would apply to this, in which case I think there's a lot of liability concerns that would be passed on to the artist that we would need to, I think, really discuss with the artist. They'd need to see that contract. And in terms of the long-term maintenance of the work, the artist would need to agree that they would be, if we were to approve it, that the artist legally would be responsible for long-term maintenance.
So
So those are some of the points.
just one little thing about that. Like, she's the person who's bringing us this proposal is not the artist. She's hiring somebody to make a piece of work out of some materials found on the site, coincidentally, and from other locations unrelated to the site, because apparently a lot of it is not up to grade for making what the proposer wants to propose. So I wouldn't, all of the stuff you talked about, Laurie, is important and a big deal, but it has to have to do with the contractor who's making this, who's fabricating this work.
Right. And because of that, we also weren't able to get specifications for the piece. There's an image, but
Yeah.
we never received exact specifications of what the piece would look like. So I guess it's sort of a project being funded by the Catherine Stryker who's submitting it Um, but I think there's some missing information. Given all that, I would say that we don't have I mean, I personally feel like we don't have enough information to say to recommend it to the town, but I certainly agree with you, Lynn. We don't want to block it. Maybe the way that this works is that the town, Paul Brockelman says he has the final say or nay. It's not the town council. He clarified to Tom, perhaps this needs to go to him so that he can get all the proper information that we're not able to get from DPW, from all of the things that would be required in order to move forward with a project like this through the town. I just don't think we have enough information to approve this and then stand behind it in the way that, some things went wrong, as we have talked about in the last time where this commission took on something like this.
Yeah.
But before we continue, Laurie, would like to go back on one of the statements that you made. Actually, the artist's agreement that the town now has a standard requires that ownership of the work of art be transferred to the town. So it's the town who was assuming future maintenance responsibility. And it's for that reason, that's one of the reasons why they ask, the town wants us to look into maintenance and potential repair costs, as we've had with the poetic conversation work, which is needed to be repaired twice at town expense.
Yes.
Dara, following
Yeah.
the round here, do you have further comments to make at this stage?
Well, I found from our first encounter with the proposal that there was very little due diligence done on the part of the person making the proposal in terms of what it means to pay for and call a gift a piece of art, and in a way suggests that that means that you can't turn it down. And that's not a good feeling, to feel like it's a foregone conclusion that it's supposed to work, especially when it's going to identify a public building. The little North Amherst Library is going to be identified by this fabricated piece that is not a particularly impressive work of art. It's not a work of art from my point of view.
Mhm.
Horses made of horseshoes are everywhere and not particularly meaningful to this location at this time. But yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
Well, what I was told was that this was part of like a walking tour that's being developed by this district, and that it becomes a stop, along this walking tour. Um,
Yeah, I just can't buy into the idea that it's the right thing to put there, even because it's a really dangerous intersection. And there's not a lot of room to put anything there anyway, and it makes no sense to me that there hadn't been a public safety, like, review of what it would mean to have something like that, and where there would it be anyway.
Looks like it's in the
And
parking
frankly,
lot.
I'm sort of tired of us using our time to talk about this, because we did raise a lot of questions as we met earlier, and I don't know why it keeps coming up. I mean, I understand, Tom, that you told me that we talked about it and we voted, but we didn't make it an official thing that ended it.
Well,
And
we actually never had a vote that I
Oh, we
can
didn't have
find any
any
record of.
voting. Well, that
No,
was a
no.
terrible miss.
And we were in the
on our
middle of
part.
a kind of incompleteness here.
Yeah,
We're being asked by the proposer,
yeah.
where are things? Do I have your approval? And we finally
Yeah.
said, at this stage, given the things that are missing, we're not going to approve. Um,
Mhm.
I'd like to
No, I'm
get
surprised. Lynn,
to
I'm
Matthew. Now,
surprised with,
Matthew was, for everybody's
oh, I'm sorry.
information, like Lynn, it was not on the commission.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That Matthew too is new to this because, like Lynn, he was not a member of the commission at the time. Matthew, your thoughts?
Yeah. I see a couple issues. I think the main one for me is I think what Lori and Lynn have kind of touched on, which is one of process. And I think questions of do we like the artwork or is it the right artwork for the location are sort of precluded by logistic and operational issues that aren't being met. And something that I've noticed from conversations about it since I've joined the commission is there were procedural things on our side. It seems like there's operational and logistic things on their side that aren't being met. I think maybe we weren't, and this is an outsider's perspective since I wasn't there, but it seems as though maybe we weren't abundantly clear with what would be required to meet sort of those procedural and operational rubrics so that we could say, hey, your proposal and your idea meets our basic requirements, but now it needs to go into review with, DPW and the town and whatever. Um,
Mhm.
I think based on the fact that we don't have a a good record or a vote on whether or not it should proceed, I think we still need to say, and I'm not on all the conversations, but I think we should still say to the folks proposing, it's like if you have the money, you need to meet these operational and logistical rubrics, and then we can evaluate it more thoughtfully, and then it can go to Paul. I think, but it's up to this council, I think, to sort of, as Lynn said, not stand in the way of any art, but I think we can provide resources to say, here's what's going to make your proposal even get to the place where it needs to be evaluated. Because I think, Dara, your point, like, is this the right space? I think Guilford is a great person to ask about that, and he can probably tell you very quickly where it could go or not go in that space. But I think we don't have enough information to even evaluate it. It seems like to me.
And in our proposed APAC mission guidelines policies draft, which hasn't been completed, it is more directed towards running a program where we would be commissioning artwork, but there is a criteria that we put in, and we haven't finished it, but it did say artist credentials. It has concept and intent, which I think this person did include content and intent. And I do understand that it would be part of this walking tour, which I've seen developing in that area, which I'm all for. But site and logistics has not been met, which is it's got the proposed location, but it doesn't have exact dimensions, materials. It talks vaguely about fabrication methods, but we really don't have the site installation information and the installation and maintenance. The overview of installation logistics is what number 4 says on our proposed guidelines. Overview of installation, logistics, and long-term care plan. I think we really need to know what we're getting into if we're going to propose to the town to take on something that may or may not require future maintenance, and the funding and the budget. It says, she will fund it and fundraise for it. So I guess it'll get done when that funding reaches whatever it's needed. It's not clear what the amount would be. So to me, I think, yeah, this installation and maintenance piece, aside from the artistic merit of it, I do see where the horseshoes fit in because they're trying to talk about on that walk, all the different businesses that were in the North Amherst district. And this kind of fits into the story that they're going to tell about the history of it. So I like the idea even of, go ahead, and if you go ahead with the exhibition, I think the work of art is where we're getting stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
That's what
All
I
right.
had hoped, that the exhibition part would be there and I could get the core of the concept from that.
Mhm.
I didn't-
Okay. At this stage, I'd like to allow the the people who are waiting
Sure.
to join in here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Hetty had her hand up. Okay, Hetty, can you hear us? I mean,
Yes, I can hear you, Tom.
okay.
You are going in and out a little bit, but I'm going to keep going. And I want to just say I'm Hetty Startup. I live in North Amherst. And the reason I'm wanting to make a public comment today is that I am a member of the District 1 Neighborhood Association. I'm on the donor board. I'm a public historian. I used to teach art history, and I have also been involved with the Mill River History Project that's been funded with CPA money by the town. So thank you, Laurie, for pointing out the connections, the business connections, the historical connections to this part of Amherst with the kind of sculpture that is being proposed. There is indeed a very close connection, both in terms of materiality and in terms of telling the story of the blacksmiths who have been a part of the history of North Amherst. Specifically, there are at least 6 different businesses that are related to blacksmiths, one of which was very close to the North Amherst Library. So there's some points here that I think need to be made in relation to just the sort of information. I do appreciate, Lynn, that you talked about the fact that the Public Art Commission's role is not to block, but to assist applications to the commission, and I appreciate that. I am kind of sensing over the time that this has been a topic, and Dara, I appreciate that it's a bit frustrating that it's already taken up a lot of your time, that this project seems to be being held to account at a different level of standards to the other projects historically that I've seen around town. And you've done some fantastic work as the Public Art Commission, thinking of Portal, which is a piece on Kendrick Park, which is made of metal. And, kids are playing around it, and clearly, this shouldn't be something that is an impediment. I think the Cultural Council money was approved as is. I would really ask you to not hold up this process any longer, but to do whatever you need to do to work with the person who has commissioned the piece, to work with the fabricator slash artist. I've looked at the drawings that he's made. He has a very good reputation as a fabricator of this kind of public sculpture. And I think that you could ask some of the concerns that you have. You could simply go back and ask for those to be addressed, so that you can go forward and resolve what is outstanding in terms of information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have anyone else who'd like to come into the meeting to make some comments, or ask questions? Okay, I see. Kat. Okay. Okay. This is Catherine Stryker, who is the proposer. Kat, it looks like you may be muted. Kat, just we're not hearing you, and I'm seeing on the Zoom control screen the mute sign on next to your name.
Um, I don't know if there's more we can do. I need to
Okay. Yeah.
leave in a couple of minutes. So, and Kat's iPhone, it would be nice to hear from you, but we're not able to hear you. Um, so what would be our next step moving forward?
Okay. Was that you've addressed that question to us, to the fellow
Yeah,
commission?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I
Okay.
do need to leave, so I want
Yeah.
to, I'm hoping
Okay.
that we can come
Hmm.
to some resolution for our next step on
Yeah.
this.
Hmm. Well, I would suggest that we pull together a list of the requirements that we've mentioned, alluded to in this conversation. So these would be coming from the artist contract document, and I can send Catherine a copy of that as a template. Also, the questions that we mentioned about endorsements and approvals, and we can help, and I can offer to help make the connections with the right people to get those. And that so the process would be to give Catherine Stryker the opportunity to address those, and secondly, that this commission could then review uh, those endorsements and approvals against the checklist, and then decide on a recommendation to Paul Bockelman, who would make the ultimate decision on whether the town will accept the project or not. So that's what I would suggest, and I'd like to hear uh, comments, responses from the commission members.
I think that sounds good to me. I was sort of wondering, and if any of this is already documented, but things that Paul or Guilford Mooring have said that they would require to even take a look at a proposal, like if there's inputs that they're going to need ahead of even reviewing it, like what's their punch list essentially?
Looks like her mute's off.
Yeah, Kat, are you able to join us now?
Possibly. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we
Yes.
can hear
Oh,
you
thank
clearly.
oh, thank goodness for that. Sorry, I was fumbling around with the settings and everything to try and say hi.
No, we
Yeah.
do that too. We do that here too.
Yeah, I just missed out on the last 5 minutes, but I listened into the overall
Hmm.
that everyone was talking about. And yeah, from my point of view, I came into the project with historical inspiration, the finding of the horseshoes, etc., and then just thought it would be a lovely idea to have this on the site. And I met with Paul Bockelman and I met with Guildford at the very, very early days. And it was only then that I realized that there was a Public Arts Commission that I needed to involve with. So I'm sorry I did. I completely skipped out on any process or procedure in my enthusiasm to just kind of shape this and get people involved. And then when I engaged with Public Arts Commission, we found that there was no precedent had been set. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been waiting for guidelines on, you had to go back and define what public art was for a while. And I'm pretty much on standby, really, waiting for your guidance as to how to make this happen. I'm not funding it. I'm just, enthusiastic, or was 3 years ago, and I'd still love to see it realized. But I really sort of, yeah, absolutely would need your guidance on how to make it work, whether it's a, even down to the artist, the commissioning process. I'm ignorant about the whole thing. So, going forward, yes, absolutely. What do I do next?
Okay. Uh, Thank you for that. I think while you were in the moments just before you were able to join us, I was making the suggestion to the group that we do, in fact, go ahead and put together what we have learned about, the requirements and the process, so that we can provide those to you and cooperate with you in making the connections, the communications with the right people on the right topics, so that everything can be lined up. We're basically working backwards at this stage from the generic artist contract, which I can send you, and on the experience that the town has had with previous public art uh, installations where the town did
Yeah.
not know to anticipate certain costs and difficulties. But we think, well, that the town now has requirements for, how those are to be met. So we can provide that. We can help help you, clarify and complete your application process. And then at that stage, when we are uh, feeling as a result that we have the information needed that we can make a recommendation to the town manager, as to whether we think this is a suitable project to be adopted. And I say that from my standpoint, I'm standing with Lynn and with Lori to say that our aim is not to obstruct, but at the same time, we are expected by the town to issue a recommendation that meets the requirements that the town has. It's taken us a while to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah. But now you've got the requirements, from what I heard today. I mean, there really aren't too many questions that need to be answered, because a lot of them I have already in one form or another. So I look forward to, reviving our connection and working with you to make this happen again.
It sounds like from what you were just saying that what we what the commission had received back in 2023 was of a specific sculpture that represented what you're trying to promote about the history of that section. It sounds like what you were saying today, though, that you were open to doing like an open call for artists to, it's two different things. One is if you have a specific artist and a specific sculpture that you're trying to cite on a place, which sounds like what you brought to us, or are you looking to put a call out for artists to interpret what you want and to create something that speaks to, your objectives? So
Well,
that
again,
would be for you to
sorry.
decide.
So when I initially put together the proposal, I had no idea how that you were there and that there were guidelines or what to do. So I pitched it straight to Paul. And it was only later that I realized that you have the process to go through. And I know that the commission at the time said, well, it's coming, it's unusual and we haven't done this before, because it's basically a gift from somebody to the town. But I was able to pivot and say, well, if that's the problem, then let's go through your process, which is, very grassroots, and you got to kind of bring in proposals from all different people and have a group involvement with the commission helping and guiding. And I said, well, let's do that. Also with the fundraising, it could be done like crowdfunding, because it's not my project; it's a project for the town. And it's also very important for the North Amherst and this lovely historical walk that's being developed as well. And I just really want to emphasize that it's not my project. It's something that I think would be lovely for the town. So perhaps my passion with the idea comes across as being individual. And, that's not my intention, but absolutely, if there's another way to do it and put out a call for proposals and involve other artists and other, commissions, then fine, let's do it that way.
I think that I'm going to have to sign off, but I think the question of going in that direction would be, financial, because we actually don't have the funds to commission something like this. So one of our challenges with our commission is that we're not funded by the town, and we occasionally have had some grant money come to us. But we don't have a budget for that, and there would have to be a lot of fundraising done that I don't know that I'm not sure who would be responsible for that, or if the district that you're in is wanting to take that on and be the, project manager for that in terms of fundraising and getting funds needed and coming up with the budget and what it would take to run a call. So that's where my questions would come in. So this raises more questions, and unfortunately for me, than it answers. So, but I'm certainly open to dialoguing about the process and how this will fit into what this particular group in North Amherst really wants to accomplish. But I don't, that's not what the original proposal was, and so it feels like it's changing now. And how do we work together to come up with something? Anyway, my last comments. I'm sorry I can't stay longer. I have to be somewhere in about 15 minutes. So thank you, everyone, and I will catch up and look at our minutes to find out what happens in the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Laurie. Okay. So again, following on Laurie's thoughts there, I'd like to suggest that I pull together a list of the procedural steps that we've been alluding to here, and send that to Catherine Stryker, and use that to reopen the conversation on this proposal. I will add, just as one quick afterthought on Laurie's comments and on Catherine's, that the town will require a contract to be signed by somebody. So there's going to have to be an individual or an organization that steps forward as the maker, the doer, the owner of the project itself. So we're going to have to, that will have to be clarified too. But I think that's ahead of us. I think we can have a good conversation to aimed at clearing up just what are the objections, the procedural objections that the commission had in the past and would like to see resolved. I think that can take us a big step forward, and it shouldn't take that long. As you mentioned, Catherine, you did talk with a lot of people. You've got it should not take a lot of conversation to to get to the right people for the endorsements and approvals. Okay, do we have other comments from anybody on the stage?
I
Okay,
just said it'd be good if you'd send us a draft of what you're gonna
I
propose.
will. I will do that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to close this portion of the meeting so we can get back to the rest of our agenda. And I thank everybody who has attended. Okay. All right, so I will draft that over the next few days and get you that by the weekend. Dara.
I don't
Oh,
think you have to hurry that much. It's a holiday weekend, so it's kind of hard to focus on what we need to focus on.
okay. Well,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, let me get back to. Okay. All right. While I get my head sorted out here, I'd like to turn to Matt, Matthew, to ask whether you have some update you can give us on the web and public view of the commission.
Sure. I haven't really touched on any since I sent out those emails, which I think were about last month. It was just really a content and design exercise in trying to streamline our footprint a little bit on the town's website. This came up for those who need a refresher because we approached them about updating the tour of Amherst Public Art map that currently exists on the website. And at that point, they informed us that that product that serves that is going to be deprecated and they have no idea when that's going to fall apart. So that sent me on a digital journey to kind of look through everything on the page and see what could be done. I have since rebuilt the Amherst Walking Tour in a Google Map product that we can share ownership and edit at our leisure. It has all the same features as the current map. I've pulled down all the assets, so there's basically no risk if that product falls apart tomorrow. Um, the other pieces of it are more focused on our web presence on the town site. I think I'd recorded a longer video. I'm happy to go through it now, but I expect we don't want to do the whole thing. The goal was essentially to reduce the content that we were putting on there so we could rely less on town employees to constantly be updating it as new art was created and needed to be shown. So I sort of reduced everything that was on that page to just be about the board. I think there's a place there for our mission and our potentially our new guidelines that we're going to have. And then a space to contact us, whether that be for artists to come in who might be interested in Electrify Amherst or folks that want to pitch a project or a proposal, and then a place for the map. And that would essentially be it. The hope would be that we can, and I don't know the answer to this, I left it in an email as well. The hope would be to kind of like re-engage on our social media channels. And I think that's a better place to document process or document new works that are coming out or highlight artists. I know there's also the project that's going on with Amherst Media as well to feature local artists and some video content. And I think those spaces are better suited for reaching bigger audiences and then also being like a little bit more nimble. Whereas the town website can be things that don't change very often, like commission members and contact information.
Yeah, I liked very much that direction. I felt like that if somebody's looking for art, they probably care more about seeing the art than they do about some of the other things. One of the things I'll mention that when Tom and I met with the Business Improvement District. We talked about the intersection of all these different websites and why they don't link to our site, and why that, like, the Chamber of Commerce could link to this map for somebody who's looking for things to do or some, so we did have a conversation about like layering these things together, figuring out what all is out there and how we should, participate in each other's, whether it's through a social media platform or even just a web link.
Yeah, I think it could be, it
Opens
could
up.
it could really be both. And the map that I created can be shared with anyone who can collaborate and edit and add to it. And the nice thing about sort of having it in Google Maps is you can create unique layers, and one could just be public art sites, the next could be businesses. As I was going through even the map that we currently have on the website, there's just businesses in there as well. I think randomly a bank and Amherst Print and Copy. And it would be nice to coordinate with the bid or cultural council or whoever to sort of say, hey, do you want to collaborate on?
The museums, the art.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Matthew, what's the way for the rest of us to get a look at that?
I can send over the video that I created to walk through, as well as the prototype link to kind of show
Oh,
how the content changed. I think that
mhm,
won't change from before.
mhm.
And my thought was the next steps are for everyone on the council to kind of look through and give feedback, give their thoughts, and then we can, after we've had that conversation, we can document the changes we'd like to ask for, and then go to
Okay.
the professional town folks and ask what can be done and when.
Okay, that sounds great. So if you send that, I'll put it on the agenda for our next meeting that we'll review and give comments and help you get to the subsequent steps.
Okay, great.
Okay, good. Okay, in the way of updates, and I will save time to get to the minutes. Way of updates, following the last meeting, I did get in touch with the winners in the Electrify Amherst round. One of them has already gone ahead and painted the box. It's out in front of Big Y on University. He jumped right on that. We've got three other people who've decided that it's gotten a little cold for painting. And part of that, of course, is the paint has to cure
Yeah.
and adhere to these metal surfaces. And I had told them, since this process ran so late, um, we can just postpone the painting until the spring. We did that last year too, so I'll keep track of all of that, and we'll go ahead. We did get, and when Lynn and I met with the Business Improvement District, um, uh, um, that they, uh, the man that we met with, Ben Coakley, who was their newly appointed, what is his title? He's sort of coordinator for art and culture for the bid. And I said, it'd be neat if downtown businesses are willing to fund the Electrify Amherst project, or at least um, uh, painting boxes that are downtown. And he seemed receptive to that. He asked me to send him a list of those, which I did. And I'll just remind you, I think I sent everybody that list. And Guilford Mooring added to it um, electrical boxes for the control of street lights. So that gives us a whole bunch more, because
That's
I thought
good.
we were out of traffic lights.
Too bad. That's
And
great.
that is very nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not every electrical control box, but quote unquote, belongs to Amherst. The one behind the Oyster Bar that I had hoped we could get painted does not. So we can't do that one. Um, okay.
Yeah, at some point, I'll go and try to get a picture of all these. I thought it was helpful to have a picture when we were
Mhm.
doing them, so I'll try to maybe.
Okay.
I was gonna ask Tom, I don't know what is most effective, but if you want to include me on your emails with the artists when
Mhm.
they're scheduling, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
go out, and I have a wide variety of camera gear available to me
Oh,
that I could
cool.
document video or photo at least of the
Mhm.
final product. So just let me know.
Okay. All right. That's great.
I watched somebody paint a whole lot of one on the Route 63 corner.
Mhm.
Oh,
by
yeah.
Cumberland
Hmm.
Farms, and she was having such a good time
Hmm. Hmm.
painting. It was really fun to watch her.
Yeah. Yeah. I was there for part of that work she was doing, and also for the one over on Gatehouse Road, and I did get to meet and talk with the artist, get to know her a little bit, took some pictures and such.
Cool.
So, Matthew, yes, I will do that in anticipation. We have two of the most, what I thought were the most beautiful designs, have been deferred until the spring, so those would both be ideal. Okay, I've shared my screen. Can people see the minutes?
This is the
Mm,
agenda that's up.
no,
That's the agenda.
Yeah, the agenda is what's showing.
Okay, there's agenda. Okay. Can you now see the minutes?
no, it's the agenda.
Oh, jeepers. Let me try closing the agenda. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So I
So,
just saw a bunch of typos on there, which I can send you in an email or just tell me.
yeah, if you would, that would be wonderful. Thanks. I think I got the attendance.
I think Lori was absent from that meeting.
Lori was absent, right? I need to fix that too. Does anybody see anything substantive that's either wrong or missing?
No, seems okay.
Okay,
Okay, can I have a motion to approve subject to corrections?
so moved.
Can I get a second? And all in favor of proceeding on that basis, raise your
I
hand. Okay, good. Thank you, everybody. Let's see. Oh, so the other update item I had was with regard to the town hall gallery. So we have an exhibit of paintings by Nancy Ratner that will be up through New Year's. And then in January and February will be two exhibits. One in January by the um, Department of Equity and Inclusion. And then in February, we'll again be showing the Amherst Black History exhibits from that were shown last year. I'm in contact with an artist who will probably be um, exhibiting then in March and April. Um, and I can send you those information about that person and images of that. I haven't concluded anything with that person. I'll ask you to look at those and comment for me before proceeding there. Okay, that's what I had for agenda.
So just you have percentage of art here, other than Lori's letter. Is there
Oh,
anything else going on with that?
no, no, I don't have any further news
Okay.
on that. My thought is that it would probably be a good thing not to just wait indefinitely for a response. But what I can do, and I'll draft this also, send it to you all, would be a follow-on to Lori's that would uh, address, the full spread of things that are in the bylaw there, and um, that we need to take a look at. So that would include, the project timeline, um, the public input aspect of things. So there are a number of things that are not, nobody's figured out yet. So it's that
Is there even any, has there been any talk about how the art is going to be, is it going to be, will we invite people to participate in making proposals?
But what about the advisory council? That was
well,
supposed to be,
that's
Yeah,
yeah,
there's so
that's
much.
yeah, that's the wall, the wall that we're facing, and beyond that wall are all these other steps.
So what
But the
happened
wall,
with that?
well, that's it, that we're trying to get an opening here. We want to see the project manager appointed. We want to see the advisory committee appointed.
So
The-
who's supposed to do that?
well, Paul took, what I remember was they didn't want to do the project manager until an advisory council was put together, and we met with people, we forwarded options, and
Uh-huh.
I thought Paul was going to do that.
Yeah, my understanding is it's in Paul's court. It's in the town manager's
Do
court.
you know who else he's talking to, or who else is the town council involved in that?
Not officially, not officially. And I don't know officially or unofficially.
His recommendation was to really pare down the council. I mean, I thought that we had thought there'd be like 13, a
Oh, the
pretty
advisory
robust
committee.
group, the
Yeah,
advisory,
yeah.
and it came back with like 5 or 6 people. It came back, somebody from APAC, somebody from the school board. It was it really was pared down quite a bit, I thought, more than what we had really recommended.
Well, he
Uh-huh.
was also clear that only he can appoint people to town committees.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's fine. That's fine as long as it's happening.
Well,
And
he also needs to talk to the appropriate people about what that advisory committee is and what its responsibilities are and who
hmm hmm
would be appropriate to have on it.
yeah, right. And we had sent him our proposals on that. So that's why I say, I think we've done our part.
So when was that? When
Oh,
did you send that for
I was
us?
like last spring and then
Okay.
again this fall. So
Okay. Well, could we draft as a commission a follow-up letter to
yeah,
him?
that's what I would like to do.
That'd be great to do that,
I
to
would
have
say,
everybody who wants to be a part of that.
hmm
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Okay. Do we have uh, any further thoughts before adjourning? Okay. Well, I'm going to just dispense with Robert's rules for an adjournment and just say that unless somebody speaks up in the next few sessions, that we agree that we're adjourning.
And there's no other public comment people here. It's just nobody else has any comment.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All right,
should I
thank
make
you
a
all.
recommendation that we end the meeting?
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll take that and I'll end the meeting at this stage. Thank you all for your time. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Eventually your email will start bringing you some drafts of things from me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye now.
Thanks.